Well, Lee Cronin's The Mummy is dividing people, and honestly, I get why. And if you're here for the Exorcist meets gore, yeah, you'll probably like it. But there's more to it than that, so let's break it down. So off the bat, this is a pure horror. It's got a fairly simple to follow story, but it is weird with 2 intros. And you get the characters making the illogical choices people make in horror films. Look, it's the bargain you make when you watch horror films. And there are too many irons in the fire when it comes to the plots in this movie, because they just left a load of them, and it's like, why are there wolves in this movie? I don't know. And the mystery side of the movie, the reason why I'm saying it's a pure horror is because the mystery part, it felt like a side quest. It just wasn't enough. And the stuff in Egypt was kind of sidelined. It was there at first, then it was like, okay, why are we in Egypt randomly now? Okay, we're kind of adding another thing into this already big movie, and they just couldn't fulfill it. And then the payoff at the end, I just think it wasn't as good as it could have been. Now, the cast were generally fine, except for the father, who seemed to have like one expression throughout the whole movie. I think I've done more in this review. Even when his child was being kidnapped, it's like one expression. The kids had the best potential, in my opinion, when it came to me watching the evolving story. But again, they just cast them aside and went, oh, we're going to have the mother, the father, and Katie, who is a kid. But the other kids... And then they just gave them like generic stuff to do, and it was like, oh, so okay, so that was gone. That was the biggest frustration for me. The kids should have had more trauma, but Grandma, she was creepy, then annoying, then irrelevant. But she'd have some cool moments and some pretty gory ones. And whatever the actress for Katie went through in terms of prosthetics and how long she'd had to sat in makeup, because I've done some extras work, and it was nothing compared to hers, props to that kid, because that's dedication. Right, so visually, it looked incredible. I mean, the gore was really well done. Again, I said at the start, if you come for the gore, you'll like it. I mean, it just looked... It was uncomfortable. I mean, like, parts of her leg was peeling with, like, bits of ancient writing in there. I mean, who doesn't have that, right? A bad day and everything. But it just made you feel uncomfortable in a good way. Like, this is where the film really scores. If you're into that, great. If you're not, you'll still appreciate it for being really good. And the little girl pulling her teeth out, I mean, it was pretty grim in, like, a... I'm going to say subtle but not subtle way. That's the best way I can describe it. But Katie, going back to her, looked so creepy with her bile and her body that was about to be snapped in half. And it was just, I mean, it was like the original Mummy we saw, as in this movie. Looked pretty deformed, especially the first shot of her in the sarcophagus, then the jump scare with the movie. Great. And the jump scares were solid. Mostly in the first half, but absolutely solid. Can't fault it for that. Oh, and having a guy have a hook through his face, you know, his like jaw at the start, like that, told us where this movie was going. But more so in the first half in that sense. So unfortunately, the pacing did feel off. It did drag at times when it shouldn't have. And you're sitting there thinking, oh, so it's dragging, but they've actually just ditched a load of stuff. So how does this, they started too much stuff, but then the film's dragging. How does this work? It wasn't well done from that perspective. Also, the time jumps that they had at periods, it was like, not Witcher Season 1 level, but it was like, it made sense, but it was a bit jarring, so not great. I mean, at the end of the day, this movie did all come together. It wasn't a mess, but it was just... yeah, this could have been done a lot better in terms of like what they had. They could have paced it nicer. And sadly, I don't think this has any rewatch value, even though I'm not saying I didn't enjoy the movie at all. And that brings me nicely onto my conclusion, because as I said, if you specifically like this type of horror film and you're not expecting Brendan Fraser's The Mummy, then you'll probably enjoy it. Even then, I think it's a one-time watch, because I don't think it's a classic even close to it, but it's equally not a bad movie. And its strength lies in its visuals, its jump scares. So there are things in there, as I said, the plot did make sense, but there were so many things left unanswered that were frustrating, and it wasn't like a great story. It was simple with what it was. So what did you think? Did you think it was a cult classic horror film in the making? Did you perhaps think, oh my God, what was this? Or maybe you made the big mistake of thinking that it was the action-adventure Mummy. But let me know in the comments below. Please like, subscribe, ring the bell, all that good stuff for more content from Quick Pick Reviews. And until next time, I'll see you later.